Hey guys. So I'm Daniel. The first thing I'll say is this is not technically a right brain talk because the amygdala is in the center of the brain, and that's what has to do with the fear. But it's not so much rational, it's more primordial. So that's what we'll be talking about today. To what extent are our evolutionary primordial emotions kind of shadowing our potential and our ability to grow? So my subtitle is Increase Your Income, Self-Respect, and Free Time. Does that elicit interest? Is that a good subtitle? Okay. So, first, do me a favor. Raise your right hand. Everybody raise your right hand in the room. Raise your right hand and kind of shake it like you don't care. All right, awesome. Now put your hand on the person next to you, right? I think it's okay. And shake them and say, "Oh, crap, it's interactive." Okay, good. So before we start, let's cultivate some generosity. So please clap for the following people. First of all, Calvin, for beginning this, I think 10 years ago. Almost 11, and cultivating it like a gardener. And it's not easy to create an event like this. I've tried. It takes time and persistence. So thank you, Calvin, for creating community for people. Thank you, Colleen Walker, for being gracious and helpful. Please clap for Colleen. And please clap for Kate. Kate, who's passing out something for you. She's my partner, and she's hilarious, and she's kind, and she's supporting my vision of supporting 1 billion social entrepreneurs by 2028. So thank you, Kate. And I want to thank my own personal business coach, Greg. He's a former All-American wrestler at the collegiate level. And I also want to please clap for yourselves because you're giving me your attention. And I promise to give you something very valuable. So I'm going to start with a very quick story. So this was about the last time I accepted a normal job at an office park. They made me an offer, and then I did something strange. I did one weird trick that made me $20,000. And I'll repeat that. This one weird trick made me $20,000. I'm not exaggerating. What did I do? I'll tell you later. So I basically confronted a fear, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit, but that'll just pique your interest. $20,000. This is how important fear is. But first, today's agenda. For the next 15 minutes, here's how it's going to work. It's going to be interactive, it's going to be fast, it's going to be intense. So whenever you speak, the speaking coach is always like, slow down. I'm not going to slow down. I assume you can keep up with me. I'm going to go fast. Is everybody cool with that? Yeah? Okay, cool. So, and as far as material, we're going to explore fear, but specifically 6 things you can do to manage and control your fear. And as a result, my promise to you is that you'll be able to increase your income, you'll be able to increase your self-respect and your free time. Does that sound good?
Wonderful.
Sounds wonderful, nice. Almost too good to be true, I imagine. Now, I only have 15 minutes, so I'm going to give you everything I can and as fast as I can. And at the end, if you want more help from me, I'll let you know how you can get more help from me. Does that sound cool? Okay. So, I want you to imagine something with me. You might want to close your eyes. Imagine it's Friday, and you're at work, and you're sitting at your computer, and your coworkers are talking about their weekend plans. Maybe they're going to Chicago, or they're going to go boating in southern Indiana. But not you. You are working this weekend. You are working Friday night. And maybe somebody gave you a ridiculous deadline or there was some crazy scope creep, but you are working this weekend. And it's not the first time. You've been working so much lately that your significant other is aggravated. The intimacy isn't what it used to be because you are not investing the requisite time and energy in making magic and adventure and play. And what makes this all worse is how little you're paid. You've heard your peers talking about big bonuses and big raises, but you only got 4 or 5% this year. Inflation's like 3%. And there you are, sitting at your computer. You feel depressed, maybe even pissed off, and you're grumbling under your teeth. And while everyone else leaves the office, there you are, sitting at the computer on a Friday night. Has this happened ever to you, ever? Please raise your hand. Has it happened? I'm sure it has. It happened to me. So why does managing fear matter to you, dear audience member? Let's take 3 common feelings among programmers: exhausted, disrespected, or used, feeling used. Okay, so things could go either one of 2 ways with each one of these emotions. So let's start with exhausted. If you get this wrong, at the end of the day, you'll feel drained. Every day you'll feel drained, and you won't invest in your growth, and you'll probably die early. Fact. If you're exhausted and you get this right, at the end of the day, you'll feel satisfied. You'll have control over how you spend your time and how you build your projects. Now, the next one, disrespected. If you feel disrespected and you get this wrong, your family won't look up to you. Your children won't look up to you. Your partner won't look up to you. Your grandchildren won't look up to you. And they might even think you're a coward. If you feel disrespected and you get this right, you could confront injustices. You could turn your dreams into reality. And others will think you're a hero, including your children. Doesn't that sound awesome? If you feel used, the third emotion, and you get this wrong, you're going to feel bitter. You're going to feel cynical. You're going to have a shorter life. And if you feel used and you get this right, you're actually going to have more free time, and you're going to feel energized, and you're going to have a very long life. These are real outcomes of how you manage fear. So I'm going to teach you 6 different ways to manage fear, and as a result, you'll be able to increase your income, your self-respect, and your free time. The first 3 are concepts, and the second 3 are strategies. So we'll start off with the concepts. Big U, little u, and courage is a muscle. My own personal coach taught me this. He wrote a book on fear. It's amazing. I've read it twice. Big U is the part of you that's most recent evolutionarily. It's the part that's activated when you listen to Carl Sagan. It's the part of you that wants to give your gifts to the world. It's motivated by love. It's non-zero sum. It's not competitive. Little u, you can sense it in your stomach. I sense it in my stomach now because I'm talking to an audience. Little u is driven by fear. Little u does not want to be rejected, and little u doesn't want to be forgotten. And the third concept I want to impart upon you is that courage is a muscle. It's not like you're born courageous. I'm nervous, but I'm talking to you anyway because I think I'm dedicating my life to this because I think it's important. Courage is a muscle that gets stronger every time you exercise it. So those are 3 concepts I want to talk to you. Now for strategies. There's 3 strategies. The first is many of us fear change, even if we're miserable. Take me, for instance. I've been a webmaster since I was 12. I never loved computers. I liked building communities. Like when I was a kid, I collected stamps, and I built an online stamp community on Yahoo, and I built a website and an email list back in like 98. I got paid. I got advertisement. But I never loved computers. I just went along with it because I had social anxiety, and I was afraid to get out into the real world. And I drifted into a career as a full-stack web developer, making 6 figures, very low stress, except for those Friday nights. But I was basically crippled by fear of social anxiety, so I didn't go out there and build communities like I'm trying to now. I was afraid of trying something new to find my calling, and I drank a lot. If you read anything about psychology, you'll learn that probably the thing that motivates man the most is meaning. Man doesn't live by bread alone. And I had no meaning, so I drank a lot, and I blacked out a lot, and I was hospitalized a couple times. I was incredibly depressed when I thought about the problems in the world, like the BP oil spill, or take your pick, opiates that are ravaging the Midwest, or automation, the future of AI. I just got super depressed. I was making a lot of money, but I wasn't living meaningfully. And as far as dating, I basically was reactive, not proactive. The women that I dated were mean to me and mean to my family. It was terrible. But I kept remembering that each of us is put on this earth for something great. I remember that, but I didn't know what that meant. I'm sitting here screwing around with the next JavaScript framework, but I didn't know what that meant. What is greatness? And that gave me the courage. I'm skipping over many years, but that gave me the courage to be a full-time coach. I cut my ties with technology a year ago. And in the past year, the first year of my business, tomorrow, Pi Day, March 14th, is the anniversary of my business. I've had an impact on 100 people in the first year. Now I help entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, increase the revenue, and it's been night and day. I used to be drained at the end of the day. Now I have so much energy, it's hard to turn it off. I used to, I don't want to get out of bed. Now I jump out of bed, and I dance every day. And I'm on track to make 6 figures this year, just like I was when I was a software engineer, and doing what I love, actually. And I get to train with the best coaches in the world. This man here, he's like the, what's his title? The director of the MIT Leadership Center, Dr. LaCour. She's talked in 24 countries, and she teaches coaches how to deal with people who have an addiction problem. This guy's from France. I'm not even going to go into him. He's awesome. And as far as dating, I've become proactive, not reactive, and I'm dating the woman of my dreams. Not only do I think she's gorgeous, but she's super kind to everybody, and she's hilarious. So strategy number 1 is find your calling and don't give up until you do. Now we're going to do a quick exercise. You all should have a piece of paper. We don't have a lot of time. I'm probably already over time. I haven't been paying attention. Take out that first piece of paper. Oh, okay. And I'm going to give you 30 seconds to write on that piece of paper, answer questions to the 2 questions that I gave you at the top, okay? You may not have a pen. How many people don't have a pen? I don't have a pen for you. Okay, go. 30 seconds. Since most people don't have a pen, can I pick someone randomly? You. Oh, you actually have a pen, but I'm going to call you anyway. How about you, sir? Well, yeah, what's your answer to the first question on the left? What do you want to experience before you die?
I don't know. Kind of want my work to be meaningful, kind of like you said. Kind of experiencing that.
Something meaningful. Usually it's helping people. How about somebody else? I'll pick one more person. How about you, the lady on the right? Yeah, what do you want to experience before you die?
Well, I had 3. One was wildly different experiences, mysteries of the planet, and mastery of my skill set.
Nice. Mysteries of the planet and master my skill set. That's awesome. Okay. So I'm going to blaze through a couple of these things. So rewire fearful memories. That's the second strategy. And one of my clients, he's freaking awesome. His name's Don. And Don was terrified of talking to strangers. He's a wedding photographer, and he has a $10,000 replica Apollo 11 spacesuit, which is how I found him, because I want to photograph in a spacesuit. When we began working together, he made $200 in January, which is $2,400 a year, and he was afraid that he couldn't afford coaching. And I said, Don, you can't afford not to get a coach, because the average photographer is making $42,000, and the top 25%, they're making like $75,000. So whatever you're doing is costing you $40,000 to $70,000 a year. So he told me he felt like he was on a high dive, and writing me a check was jumping off the high dive into the water. And he did it. So the first thing we did was focus on his fear of talking to strangers in sales. And the first month I said he did $200 a month, and now he did $3,000 a month the next month, because we did this special exercise in imagination and fear and memories. And he was weeping for 10 minutes. And the result was increasing his revenue like 15 times. The third strategy I want to talk to you about is expectations versus agreements. And is Jamil here today? Jamil! Okay. Jamil and his partner created a company called OldSpeak, their digital agency. And Jamil's super laid back. Alan is super high energy. And there was some conflict there because they weren't, they go way back, but there wasn't like really, there was some fear about confronting certain issues, different personality styles. So I had them do this technique that I got from a coach who charges $100,000 a year per client. And Jamil says, thank you, Jamil. Hiring Daniel was one of the most valuable investments I made this year. So Jamil and Alan confronted the fear of confrontation using a special technique called expectations and agreements. So in summary, I might be a few minutes over. Okay, in summary, the big concepts I want you to remember is big U, little u, bravery is a muscle. Don't stop until you find your calling. If you're miserable at all, stop and do something different. Rewire your fearful memories with certain imaginative exercises that I could tell you about later. And the difference between expecting things from people and coming to agreements with them. And the last thing I want to say is that usually when you work with me, it's between $2,000 and $3,000 for an engagement. I'm just launching tonight a group program, and we're going to focus on fear as part of a larger puzzle. We're going to focus on focus. Like, how can you manage the tech distractions of Facebook and texting and so on? How can you manage your fear? How can you remember your true purpose before you, on your deathbed, and you're confronted? How do you nurture your focus, manage the distractions, and manage the fear to live awesomely? So I'm launching tonight a group about this. So if you're interested, go to appliedideals.com. All right, thank you for your attention. I hope you got some value. Hopefully you got at least $50 worth of value. Thank you.